wanting more. Pile drivers and pinfalls, a historical ride beyond the ropes with nothing to hide.
Don't adjust your sets. That's right. I'm on the Joe Monroe Show. I have bought my competition. The name on the show may say Monroe, but it's CZ Monroe from now on. Oh, hi, Joe. I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm getting into the episode.
You know, I already feel old. And you pull... Hang on. For those watching on YouTube and Facebook and now on TikTok, thank you all for the much love on TikTok. You know, you're turning into this man right here. I mean, God. CZ, why? Oh,
it was me, Joe. It was me the whole time. Oh, wait, that's a different episode. No,
different episode. You're not no, stop. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of the History of Pro Wrestling with the Joe Monroe Show. I am your host, Joe Monroe, and as you can see, my co-host, the only wizard in podcasting, certified wizard, even has a hat and a certificate.
I do.
Yep, go ahead and pull the certificate.
I don't have the hat here, but I do have the certificate.
There's the certificate. The one and only, the wizard, CZ. Apparently, CZ Monroe. What the heck, man?
We're coming in hot today, Joe.
The Till 5 guys are going to be really... God, they're going to eat this up now.
Okay.
Okay, so in case you haven't seen... We're going to be talking about the Last Nitro. That's right. The last Monday Nitro that happened 25 years ago, this past March 26. March 26, 2001. God, just saying that makes me feel old.
I know the feeling.
But, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with this day. And I have a love-hate relationship with this episode that we're going to review. But before we get into that, you know what I like to do during wrestling?
What's that?
When I watch wrestling, I want to have myself a cold brew. And sometimes, you know, I may want to eat some barbecue.
Well, that sounds like a plan to me.
But when I'm not watching wrestling, I love reading comics. But you know what? Someone can do all three at one place. That's right. Books, brews, and barbecue, where they have comic books, a full bar, and kind of killer barbecue. Not kind of. Darius would whoop me for that. Killer barbecue. Located at 450 South Highway 27 in Somerset, Kentucky. Y'all, this is a great place. It's a great vibe. And spoiler alert, we're actually working with them to do something special. So, again, go check out Books, Brews, and Barbecue. They even have a live show on Facebook where they auction off comic books. So, be on the lookout. Go follow them on their Facebook page. It is time to get into the Last Nitro. Oh, boy. Here we go. Also, we're going to play a little game tonight, too. Let's keep track on how many times individually that Vince McMahon pops up. Okay. And we will say when it's a commercial break or not, because you'll understand. All right. Well,
you can make a drinking game out of it. I'm not going to partake in that, but
I'm good. Well, you know what? I hate saying it because here comes the first one. The show opens up with this. Vincent Kennedy McMahon saying, I have bought my competition. That's right. I own WCW. What is the fate of WCW? Because the fate is in the palm of my hands. And then it's like, okay, as a fan, you know, it's like
Be gone, vile man! Be gone from me! Be gone, vile man! Be gone from me!
Literally, that's how I felt. Like, okay, go away, shoot. Especially now, looking back, rewatching that, I'm like, oh God. My wife even had to sit and watch it. She was like, oh God. But, you know, they open up, and this is actually called Night of Champions. If a lot of people don't remember, this is kind of sort of, to me, it kind of feels like a Nitro mixed with Clash of Champions.
Yes, I can agree with that.
because Clash of Champions was also a big program that ran on, I think, was it TBS that it popped up on? I know it was a pay-per-view for a while. And I'm pretty sure they did some clashes on either TBS. I think it was TBS. I want to say.
I think it was TBS, but you're asking the old man in the room to use his memory, and that just doesn't work. It's not going to work for me, brother.
Well, your next segment's coming up. Your favorite promo.
Yeah.
One, Ric Flair going off. Sorry, I had to get that screenshot right there.
It's a great shot.
Yeah,
and he gives Vince the business. It's a great promo.
Yeah, it is. He brings up a good point too throughout that promo. Like, you can't hold the faith and legacy of going back almost 30 years at this point, which to, younger fans, it's like, I thought WCW only lasted from, not 89 or whatever to 2000. No. If you want to look at the legacy of WCW, it goes way back than that.
Yeah.
We might do another episode on that, CZ. That's probably not a bad idea. Right? Hey, write that down. Right, we got it down? Okay. Our secretary has it written down. I was waiting on a piece of paper to fling. But I know you were paying attention to it, and you told me to grab one of your favorite signs, and
oh yeah,
I grabbed it for you.
Beautiful sign right there,
and by the Parkamest.
Oh yeah, well, we'll talk about that a little later too. We'll talk about Little La Parka, but not part of the show itself.
No,
just a little teaser.
Yep. Yep. Then we go back and we have Tony Schiavone and Scott Hudson talking about what's going to happen on tonight's event. That's one person I feel bad for tonight. Aside, we're going to talk about, the people working behind the scenes later and how it affected them. But I feel bad. Look at Tony Schiavone, man.
He just looks heartbroken.
Yeah. I mean, how many years at this point?
Oh God, I don't even know.
Yeah, and
too many. And
go ahead.
Yeah, just he was so front and center through all of WCW, especially the big run they had where the 83-week period, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He was so front and center. He was the voice of WCW, at least in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It would be a toss up between him and this guy sitting behind me, Mean Gene Okerlund.
Right.
Well, I would say Schiavone was probably the voice in the 80s. And whenever Okerlund left WWF, that's when he became the voice. But, coming up, they have first match of the night. Title versus title. Booker T versus Scott Steiner.
What a match.
For the longest time, I thought this was the main event. I don't know why.
I mean, I understand why it's not. We'll get to that. But what a way to start a show with a world title match. I mean, it kind of felt like nobody pulled this, but it kind of felt like a Brock Lesnar saying, if I'm not going on in the main event, I'm going first and I'm leaving.
Yeah. Because in wrestling, the first match sets the tone for the night.
Right. 100%.
And you know what? I was watching the Death of WCW that was put on that came out a couple of years ago, and I rewatched the last episode. Was over the Last Nitro, and Booker T basically told Scott, who was worried, he goes, "Dude, we're just auditioning tonight," and it was a pretty good match.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
All things, because Scott Steiner had that. I think it was a problem with his foot, because he even admit in an interview with Chris Van Fleet, I shouldn't even been wrestling that night.
And that was one of the reasons why he was out for so long after the last episode.
Yeah, but I mean, plus his contract.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the contract, but yeah, he was taking time to heal too, I'm sure. So
yeah, don't blame him. Well, spoiler alert: Booker T won. He was a double champion. I really wish I got this picture and the side by side of the Kurt Angle picture.
That would have been brilliant.
Because is this not one and the same?
Yeah.
But it's cool, though. It's cool. I like it. And, well, I threw a commercial in here. I know we're supposed to go over the event, but I threw a commercial in here because I couldn't help myself.
Good old Slim Jim and the Macho Man.
So, man. Yeah.
Oh, may he rest in peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, during the commercial, we had the spring break.
Spring Breakout 2001 WCW.
Oh my God. What was I know we talked about this off, before we recorded here. What was up with the mid 90s and early 2000s and spring break? I understand the internet was not a thing, but it was. Did American Pie really have this?
Yeah, I think they did. As crazy as it sounds, and it was an event.
Well, we come back to WCW, and guess who we come back to? Vince McMahon on the telephone. Don't know who he's talking to, but we're back. And then we go back to a commercial where tonight, Ric Flair versus Sting. But we move on to, oh no, I missed a match. I forgot this is on me. There was the triple threat tag team
Yes.
match. That was the second match. It was the Young Dragons going up against 3 Count, going up against Kidman and Mysterio, which Kidman and Mysterio won. And for that to be a triple threat tag match, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was decent. It was enjoyable.
I feel like, this last episode, if this last episode was like the past, because a lot of stuff led up to, this night, just how big of a debacle WCW was at this point. But if, how this night was set up would have been 6-7 months ago, this would not have been the last Nitro.
I can agree with that.
You're featuring mid-carders that need to be featured because this is a new era. And you predominantly have, in my opinion, you have Fuzzy Pickle. Sorry. You have, sorry, I had to, CZ, you're out there trying to sneeze. You had predominantly cruiserweights almost.
Yeah, the majority of the show was the cruiserweights, which is a good thing. They were the triple threat, and the subsequent match later was all for the cruiserweight tag team titles, which I think, if I'm remembering, they lasted 8 days total from their inauguration to the last Nitro.
Yep. Well, before we get into that, there was also another cruiserweight title match.
Yes.
The Shane Helms versus Chavo Guerrero. I had to get this picture because I love the Vertebreaker.
I do too. It's
one of my favorite wrestling moves. But yeah, that was. I think it was just a little bit better than the Booker T versus Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
But I think Shane Helms, aka the Hurricane, for those that don't know, kind of really shined right here.
Oh, he's a tremendous athlete in his day. Shane Helms was fantastic, whether he was stuck in the Hurricane gimmick or whether he was Shane Helms or even Gregory Helms, any incarnation of him, he was fantastic in the ring.
That Gregory Helms Hill persona, I forgot about that till you just mentioned it. Oh my gosh. Well, we go back. That's where we go back to.
Oh, I bet it's Vince.
Vince. Then we go to commercial. Then when we come back,
and it's Vince.
With poor Michael Cole, looks like he hates his job in this snapshot. Sorry.
He looks like he hated his job in that whole promo.
Yeah. But after this was the no, actually in between this, I'm sorry, was the tag match between Team Canada and Palumbo.
And
O'Hare, which I still think Sean O'Hare, if WCW would have continued on, would have 100% definitely been WCW championship material.
I agree. He was tremendous.
And Palumbo would have been United States champion. But they work together because they're good examples of how kind of like bigger guys can still move. Sean O'Hare, especially with the Swanton, beautiful. And I know later in WWE they try to do something with him, especially putting him with Piper. But that gimmick, it just didn't. But when they were both part of the Natural Born Thrillers,
yes,
come on, that's an underrated stable in itself. Because you not only had those two, you had Sean Stasiak and you had Mark Jindrak. and a couple of others. Reno and who was the leaders? I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
But we're probably going to get blasted in the comments. But
I'm sure, but don't be a troll.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to, by all means, make it funny at least. But, you know, Palumbo and O'Hare keep the tag titles. Then we move on to a vignette, which beautiful vignette. It was very short. It goes over the champions, the legacy, Sting, Hogan, Flair.
Very well put together.
Yeah, very well put together. And the death of WCW, it shows, and I kind of feel bad for Jimmy Hart that he was reviewing the tape and he goes, "That's just beautiful." And you can just see in his eyes, he's like tearing up, like, I can't believe it ends today. Right. Then when we come back, Vince and William Regal, which this popped you because it popped me too. Tell the fine folks what Tony Schiavone said.
Oh God. We've done some terrible things here, including having to put you over, Steven Regal.
And this was during the entrance of the next match, Prime Time, which is Elix Skipper and Kid Romeo versus Rey Mysterio and Kidman, which, if y'all remember correctly, this was the Cruiserweight Tag Title match, which was the how many times? What was it active? Like 8 days or something?
8 days. 8 days.
Well, Kidman and them ended up winning. I'm not going to lie. That was a pretty tag belt.
Yeah, put that back up for a second. That is a good-looking belt.
It is a beautiful belt. That right there. And you know what? That just showed that I kind of like what Bischoff's, he was originally going to think, kind of Thunder being like the Cruiserweights.
Yeah.
And that would have been fantastic. That's kind of like the predecessor to kind of 205 Live. But, you know, you had these legendary Cruiserweights, like Eddie Guerrero. You would have, back in the, you know, late 90s, he was thinking about this. Then he also thought about having NWO, but there was a lot of things going on, like Eric said. But after that match, we cut back to, guess who?
Our boy Vince.
Vince on the telephone again. Then the final match of Nitro hits, which is Sting versus Ric Flair. And this is the final ring of the bell for WCW Nitro when Sting tapped out the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
And it really kind of bookends Nitro because they started Nitro. I don't think they were the first match, but essentially that match was the headliner for the first Nitro and then the headliner for the final Nitro. So everything came full circle.
It did. I
feel so bad for Ric Flair. Yeah, he's wearing a shirt because he didn't feel like he was really he
let himself go.
He let himself. He didn't feel confident in himself at all.
Yeah, and that's understandable, especially, you know, what you had to deal with the last 6-7 months.
Right.
But I will say, I will give credit where credit's due. They tried the last few months to do something. If you go back and watch Sin and what's the previous pay-per-view before Sin? I just watched it too. Oh goodness, what would that been?
I'm trying to remember.
Get on the little cheat sheet we usually use, CZ. What was it?
Working on it.
But those two pay-per-views, they were pretty good. But it was one of those, again, it's too little too late.
Which is unfortunate because, you know, like they were building some momentum here.
Well, speaking of unfortunate, guess who we cut back to?
He's everywhere.
Then you know, he cuts the promo, you know, he asked who they should have on the WWF Raw or SmackDown. Then Shane McMahon's music hits, and then we get this.
Before we go into this a little bit, yeah. Were you thinking of Mayhem? WCW Mayhem?
Maybe. I don't know.
The pay-per-view before Sin was Starrcade 2000.
Maybe it was You sure?
I've got our little cheater sheet here. Yeah, and I'm scrolling through Sin. Previous pay-per-view was Starrcade. Before that was Mayhem.
That don't sound right, though. I could have sworn there was a pay-per-view.
And then there was Millennium Final. I don't even remember that one.
That was one of those, yeah, welcome to the new millennia type deal. Hang on, because I have it here on the tube list. Give me just a second.
Are you thinking of the New Blood pay-per-view or the...
No, not New Blood Rising. No, not that. Hang on. I can't remember. It'll come to me. I'll say it in the comments later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was basically the end. They end off with, this.
Yeah, they end with Shane proclaiming that he has purchased WCW in his dad's stead. The name on the contract is McMahon, Shane McMahon.
Yeah. And they could have ran something with that. They really could have. I know
there were plans for them to do so. I don't know if you remember after all this, there was one final Monday Nitro during Raw.
Yeah, and the commentators were Arn Anderson.
And who else?
It was maybe it was I can't remember. Where's ATV? It may have been Scott Hudson. I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure. Let us know in the comments who it was.
Yeah, we'll put that in the comments when we know.
But speaking of comments, all right, CZ, I know we talked about the last Nitro, but this not only affect wrestlers, it also affect people backstage, camera people, production crews. If you watch the Death of WCW or Who Killed WCW, you get that feeling, and you can't help but feel bad because those people. DDP said there was a guy who worked the camera that was there for like 26 years, and he didn't know what he was going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that only didn't affect wrestlers; it affect people who help put this production together. I've said this plenty of times on my show. It's not just the wrestlers out there putting on the show.
Right.
There are also people, the commentators, the camera guy, the production crew, the people who do the setup. The ring announcer. Which, I'm not going to lie. That setup that night, pretty sweet. Especially how they had the Titantron video.
Very cool.
Very cool. Indeed. We missed a match. I missed a match. And
Again?
I did. The Bam Bam Bigelow versus Sean Stacey.
Oh, that's right.
I missed that match on purpose because I felt bad for Bam Bam, and I don't want to talk about that match.
Okay, that makes sense. We'll leave it at that.
But poor Bam Bam. All right, CZ. Now that's the sadness is out the way. The Wizard CZ. We're not doing a top 10 this week. No. CZ wants to talk about his top 20 favorite moments. And you know what? I want to go backwards here.
It's hard. So I put them in no particular order, but we'll go through however you have them set up. I just want to preface this. It's not necessarily the best moments.
Well, you know what? Let me get this one out of the way because I got some questions. The finger poke-a-doom.
Oh, God.
Okay, why do you have this in your top 20 moments?
Because of how infamous it is. It's not just bad moments or good moments that I'm looking at. It's memorable moments.
Okay.
That I'm looking at. So that's why it's on the list, because of how memorable it is.
Oh, and for the kids that wonder what the heck this thing is, that's what a TV looked like back in the day. So take it easy.
Yeah, you didn't have your phone or the little remote. You had to get up and turn the channel your damn self.
Well, let's turn to the channel of the Women's Championship being trashed.
Yes.
It's trashing the women's title. Even she kind of regrets that. But, it's still a memorable moment. I got a friend who was my manager. He met her, and he had a replica of that title. One side she signed Alundra Blaze. The other side she signed Medusa. I thought that was
that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, let's go on to another one. Lex Luger shows up on Nitro.
What the heck is he doing here?
And, this was before the 90-day compete clause because just a few days ago he was on WWF as Lex Luger. the guy who just body slammed Yokozuna.
And shout out, didn't he come out during the Flying Brian Pillman and Jushin Thunder Liger match?
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them, because that was, if you haven't seen that match, go back and watch the first Nitro. Highly recommend.
We may cover the first Nitro. I don't know. We may start doing episode coverages because I'm Well, speaking of Lex, I want to go ahead and put this one out. Lex defeats Hogan for the World Championship.
Yes. Before Goldberg came around, before Goldberg defeated Hogan and took the belt off him, Lex did it first.
Yep. Well, you mentioned it already. Let's go ahead. Goldberg winning the championship.
Part of his 9,372,000 match win streak.
I almost put Goldbug.
Goldberg.
But I don't want to go up at my house. This is one of my personal favorite moments. The master of 1,004 holds.
Yes. What I love about, first of all, I'm a huge Jerichoholic. I always have been. Some of his work lately hasn't been the greatest, but this moment here, not only did he have the list of 1,004 holds and read it on the air, they went to commercial and came back and he was still reading the damn list.
As another match is starting.
Right. Jericho was before his time, 100%.
Now, this is just in general, I'm taking it. Sting coming from the rafters.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if that the picture I got, I don't think that's the first one. I could be wrong. But I just found a good one with him coming from the rafters.
And I know the first one, I have the dates on here. The first time he did that was January 20th of 97.
So I think that might be it. Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, next one. I mean, as a kid, hang on. Where's that going? I have something here.
While you're looking at, I'm just going to give a shout out to Tony Schiavone and say,
you kind of cut out there when you were doing that.
Well, that's probably for the best.
I mean, you had this guy. I only have my NWO Sting. Yeah, I still got old WCW figures.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I've got a box of them somewhere. So,
hey, let me know if you want rid of them. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. DDP rejects the NWO. This was before the picture I got was before tragedy struck, and Scott Hall got diamond cuttered by DDP.
DDP, incidentally, was the first person to stand up to the NWO.
Yep.
And if you read his book, or if you watch, he's got a couple of documentaries. He talks about how that was pitched to Hall and Nash, and they went to bat for him for that to happen.
Yeah, and coincidentally, the new Ultimate that's out, I don't have it. I actually skipped out and buying it. I know, shame on me. That's actually the Ultimate they have because it comes with the NWO shirt. That's
fantastic. I may have to get that.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned this earlier. Shane buys WCW, quotations buys WCW.
Kudos to them for trying to turn the purchase into a storyline, but as anyone knows, if you're following the history of the buyout of WCW turning into the invasion, that was just piss poor writing all around.
Yeah. Well, this one I think you'll get a laugh out of. Ray becomes a long card.
Oh man, poor Ray. Hurling him right into that trailer. Oh man, I can't even imagine.
You know, he originally wanted to go through that. Hang on, let me bring that back up. He
wanted to go through the window, didn't he?
Wanted to go through that window.
Oh,
and Kevin's like, I know you're small, but I don't think you're that small, buddy.
I don't think I can only imagine. I don't know, and I'm sure Ray has gone on record at some point and said this, but I can only imagine that the fall to the ground after hitting the trailer hurt more than hitting the trailer.
Yeah, because you can protect yourself, because that's just how I just hit the whiteboard here. But
no, thank you.
My arms, no, thank you, no bueno. All right, one of my favorite moments. Piper exposes Eric Bischoff. One of my absolute favorite moments, because this is where Eric Bischoff is revealed to be the guy, the
The mastermind.
Yeah, the mastermind. And that right there was just genius because Piper just comes out and Eric's just like, whoa, hey, you're here. Yeah. Okay, when you go to my road, does the road go straight or is it curvy? And how long is it till you get? I mean, he was just, God bless
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper, I mean, come on, he truly is. I got the WCW Ultimate here. Truly an icon.
100%.
Yes. And another one that's an icon, and this is another iconic moment. Lud DDP.
So this was during his feud with Macho Man. And he came out as the chairman of WCW La Parka and got the better of Macho Man, and only to reveal himself as Diamond Dallas Page.
Yep.
That was well written. That was well put together. I loved it.
Indeed. Now, something that's well put together, Rude Double Vision. The night Rick Rude showed up on both Nitro and Raw at the same time.
Right.
Which technically, Rick Rude, which a lot of people don't know this, is actually a member of DX and NWO.
Yes, he is. Not only was he on both Raw and Nitro in the same night, because Raw was pre-taped,
Right.
he was also on ECW that week.
That is true. That is because he wore a mask that week.
He was the only person to appear on all three brands during that era.
In a week.
Gotta
love Rick Rude. I also love this moment right here.
Of course. Since we're talking about this, the same night that this happened is the same night that one of my favorite moments happened. And that's when Ric Flair went off on Eric Bischoff and gave us a little striptease in the ring.
No, that's a different night. This is the night he bit his lip. Because you can see in that picture where he got
that's right. That's right.
He bit his lip and he started bleeding.
That's right. Oh, my brain is all.
But there is another night, the Ric Flair strip.
Oh God.
Where he absolutely pulls the ultimate.
I mean, okay, who doesn't love to see Ric Flair do an elbow drop onto his sports jacket? Come on.
Woo!
Woo!
God love Ric Flair. And also God love Jericho because apparently he was a victim of conspiracy.
Yes. This was another fun story because the night before that his conspiracy victim shtick started was the night that Dean Malenko disguised himself as Cyclope.
Yep.
Only to beat Jericho for the cruiserweight title. I believe it was the cruiserweight title at the time.
It was indeed the cruiserweight. I'm sorry. I look back at it was a little comedy, but it was also genius on Jericho's part because it was really entertaining.
Yeah, Jericho had a lot of entertaining moments on Nitro, and I'll give a shout out to one that's not on the list.
Ralphus,
but I'm thinking more of his interactions with Goldberg.
The mini Goldberg 0, Jericho 1.
You know, if they had pulled the trigger, all people wanted to see was Jericho get speared, jackhammered, pinned. That's all the match needed to be, and Eric Bischoff refused to let it happen. I don't understand why.
Well, one thing that I'm happy that did happen, the NWO Horsemen.
Oh, God.
I mean,
I'm going to give you a spot. Not my dog spot, not a liver spot, but my spot.
But Scott Hall, Kevin Nash as Arn Anderson cracks me up, and freaking Sean Waltman when he does this and Flair's
Sean Waltman cracks me up with some
poor Conan. I feel bad for Conan and Bagwell because I think they got the crappy parts. Speaking of something crappy that happened to somebody, Brett tricks Goldberg, and God bless Canada. A little cameo from our fellow Canadian there.
That was a great moment. Yeah, I rewatched this recently. Goldberg hits the spear, and they are both dead to rights. and the announcers have no clue what's going on. They're losing their minds because both of them are knocked the hell out.
Mm-hmm. And then he gets up, I quit. But, at that point, what happened, leading up, understandable why. But something else that started Scott Hall debuts.
Hey, yo.
Hey, wait, hang on. No, we can't do it justice. Let's hear it from the man himself.
Hey, yo.
Perfect. Yeah. Scott Hall, his debut on May 27th, 96.
Yeah.
Coming down from the crowd in the middle of the match, he clears out the ring. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
It's weird that they sued him for saying he was Razor Ramon.
Yeah, because he never said he was Razor Ramon.
No, he said he was Scott Hall.
Yeah.
But I think it was the carve,
the mannerisms and the... I can understand that, but he never once said.
Yeah. Well, last but not least, I had to leave this last. Sting versus Flair one more time.
The only way that, in my opinion, Nitro could have ended.
Yeah. Not WCW, but Nitro.
Right.
Because WCW ended with Worldwide later that week.
Right. And I mean, you can say that Nitro ended with Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon and all their BS, but no. The real ending of Nitro was Flair and Sting.
Yeah, this was it. This was absolutely it. Well, I feel old and depressed now. But you know what? I'm going to plug 2K for a little bit because you can relive this moment. I wish they had this exact arena because that would be awesome. But you can relive it if the game don't crash on you, that is. So,
right.
But, man, this was a great trip down memory lane. And CZ, gosh, we don't have to do this again. We may, you know what? Let us know in the comments below if you guys want us to cover the first Nitro or any other iconic episode in wrestling history.
Yeah.
Because this was actually kind of fun.
I enjoyed this quite a bit. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun and a lot of work. But, if there's one thing that I think we should review. Ooh. Well, I was going to say,
I think the powers that be are trying to tell us something, Joe.
Maybe we need to review a film.
I'm all about it. That's one of my low-key favorites that you're thinking of.
And we're talking about WCW. And it tried to save WCW, and it led up to a not so great moment in WCW. Did it just get hot in here? Or was it David Arquette? David Arquette. We forget. Well, we can't forget, but we forgive you, buddy.
We forgive.
You actually put in the work later on. If you haven't seen, that would be kind of cool to review the documentary of "You Cannot Kill David Arquette." That's a great.
That would be cool. I've watched that recently.
That is a great wrestling documentary. But you know what, folks? As you see, we are running out of time. CZ, remind the people where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Card Subject to Change podcast at CSTC Podcast, like it says right down there, as well as on our monthly shows, Wrestling with Fitness and Wrestlebacks. And, of course, right here on the Joe Monroe Show.
That's right. And on the Joe Monroe Show, you can find us on TikTok. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us everywhere. Joe Monroe Show, #1. Everyone else. You heard Sheiky, baby.
I think this show needs a proper send-off, Joe.
It does.
We're desperately out of time.
Oh, no. We got to go. We're out of time. Everybody, we'll see you next time.